Hello and welcome. I'm Miss Ari from the Online Science Connection. Today, I'm broadcasting live from the Discovery Cube. The countdown to reopening has begun, and we are almost there. We are very excited to hopefully welcome you into our doors very soon. Now, today, my friends, we're in for a treat. We're going to be talking about butterflies. For this activity, you're going to need a couple of materials like a coffee filter. If you don't have a coffee filter, a napkin or a paper towel will work as well. A brown or a black marker, just make sure that they're washable. A small cup with some water in it, and two pipe cleaners. If for some reason you don't have a pipe cleaner, other materials work as well, like maybe a rubber band or a paper clip, a clothespin, or even one of these nifty little hair ties that I have in my hair right now. What we're going to be doing today is we're going to be exploring the beautiful world of chromatography. And for just to let you know, we've also added the different things in the chat. Ooh, fantastic. And I see a lot of you are logging in right now. I'm super excited for you to be here. Now, today, we also want to focus on the type of scientists who study butterflies. And the type of scientists that study butterflies are called lepidopterists. Let's go ahead and say that out loud, my friends. Lepidopterist. One more time, a little louder for the folks in the back. Lepidopterist. That was great, my friends. Fantastic. Now we're going to start off today with a question from Faith from Mr. Eric's class. She asks, why are butterflies bugs? Well, thank you so much for your question, Faith. The term bug actually is used to describe small animals with lots of legs. Now, I know that you folks have probably encountered lots of different bugs when you're cleaning your house, but specifically, the types of things that butterflies is actually something that we classify as an insect. And the reason that we classify it as an insect is because of all of their different body parts. Now, today, we are going to be making a model of a butterfly. But in the meantime, I actually have one of our butterfly's friends come here. This is our little bee here. Her name is Beyonce. And Beyonce is going to help us discover all of the three different parts of an insect here. Now, we know that all insects have an exoskeleton. That means that the hard part of their body is on the outside. If you think about humans, our hard part is on our inside. That is called an endoskeleton. But all insects have an exoskeleton, and they actually have three body parts: a head, a thorax, and an abdomen. The head, the thorax, and the abdomen are going to have different things attached to them. So for example, the head here has two little antennas, two eyes, and here it's its mouth that's going to have a long proboscis, kind of like a straw for a tongue, that's going to help it suck up the nectar from lots of different flowers. Now in the middle here, we have the thorax. And the thorax of an insect is what has the wings. And an insect is going to have two pairs of wings for a total of 4 wings. We can count them together. And if we turn Beyonce around, you can see the legs attached. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then last but not least, we have our abdomen here. And butterflies also have this abdomen, but the bees have an abdomen at the end. They have something that's a little scary called a stinger, right? But luckily, butterflies don't have that. So that's why, my friend, Faith, that's why kind of butterflies are bugs, and more specifically, they are insects. Now we're going to get ready to set up our experiment to make our model butterfly. Oh, but it looks like we have a question. Luna asks, Why does the butterfly make a chrysalis? Ooh, Luna, this is such a great question. And actually, this past week, I've been a host for a caterpillar that's been turning into a butterfly. Now, the chrysalis is kind of be the home for the caterpillar on its journey to turn into a butterfly. Now, that the caterpillar, once it's born, it eats and it eats and it eats, and once it's all full, it actually hangs itself upside down. The chrysalis forms, and it undergoes a magical transformation. I like to think about it this way. Think about when you're getting ready to go to a party and you want to surprise everyone by how flashy and pretty you look. You can close the door, right, of the bathroom. That can be your chrysalis. And then you can make yourself up super pretty. And then you can come out of your chrysalis. But hopefully it doesn't take you 10 to 14 days like it takes a typical butterfly. Thank you so much for your question, Luna. Now let's get ready to set up our experiment. Today, we're going to make a model of the butterfly using the process of chromatography to color its wings. Now, chromatography might be a word you've never heard of before, but I like to break down words to help us figure out what they mean. Chromatography. Chroma is going to mean like color, and tography is going to be to map something out. So chromatography is the separation of colors and their pigments as they move across water through a certain medium or a substance. And that's why we're going to be using today our coffee filters. Or if you don't have a coffee filter, like I said, you can grab a napkin or a paper towel. Got it? Good. Fantastic. So now we have my little coffee filter here. And if you look at the coffee filter, this is a porous material. What that means is if I can pass water through it, so water is going to be able to travel up and down and show us all of the different colors that we're going to use today. Now, if you remember, I asked you to look for maybe a brown or a black marker. And this is the colors that we're going to be using today to decorate the wings of our butterfly. But first, we're going to need the medium. And the medium today is water. So make sure you have just a cup of fresh water. You don't need too much. Just about 1/4 of a cup works out really well. And once you have this water here, you can just go ahead and set it to the side. We'll come back to this later. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to get our coffee filter and we're going to sort of eyeball and design where we're going to make our butterfly today. Now, a trick that I've used to help me remember that butterflies have 4 wings is I actually fold my filter in half and then I fold it in half again. And then when I open it up, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 little areas that help me picture those 4 different rings that the butterfly has. Next, I'm going to draw a design. Now, the tricky part about this is you want to stay away from the edges, but you also want to stay away from the center. If you have a ruler, you can kind of measure it out about 1 inch. I like to use my thumb. So I just kind of use my thumb to measure it out, and then you can draw a design. It can be any design you want. I really like polka dots and stars, so I'm going to draw some polka dots and stars really quickly on my piece of paper here. Now, butterflies are also symmetrical, so that means anything I draw on one side, I'm going to draw it on the other side as well. So I got polka dots on the top and maybe 2 little stars here at the bottom. Woohoo! This is my design here. I'm pretty proud of it. What do you friends think? I think it looks amazing. Now, in order for us to really see our chromatography happen, we're going to have to introduce this piece of paper to our water that we have here. And hopefully, we'll see the water travel up and up through the coffee filter. Now, once again, you're going to take the coffee filter, you're going to fold it in half. You're going to fold it in half one more time. And then guess what? You're going to fold it in half one more time. The point of this is that we want to get a nice point to be able to stick into the water. Now, this part is the hardest part for Miss Ari. You might be wondering why. Well, this part takes a lot of patience. And Miss Ari sometimes gets too excited and she sticks the whole paper in the water. My friends, let's not do this today. We're just going to stick the little tip of the paper into the water. So I'm going to go ahead and just stick a little bit. Whoa, and it looks like right away the water is starting to travel up. But while we wait for the water to complete its journey, I'm going to go ahead and answer the next question that we got. It comes from Benji from Mrs. Rodriguez's class. Benji from Mrs. Rodriguez's class asks, do butterflies have babies? Well, butterflies, like all insects, I'm going to just take this out of the water, lay eggs. Once the eggs hatch, a little caterpillar emerges from the egg, and then later the caterpillar wraps itself in that chrysalis that Luna asked about earlier. And after 10 to 14 days, it's going to metamorphose into a butterfly. And then at that point, the butterfly emerges out of the chrysalis. Now that my water is halfway off my coffee filter, I'm going to go ahead and just spread it out. And you can, my goodness, you can start to see some colors. Hey, who put the color blue on my paper? I don't know. I use black. That's kind of strange. This is pretty awesome, though. I'm going to go ahead and set this apart here to let it dry for a second. And it looks like we got an important message here. Oh, perfect. Yes. More of my friends are joining us. Fantastic. And they want to see some of the butterflies that I've made in the past. So I have a couple here. Earlier this week, I was pretending to be a lepidopterist, and I made this beautiful butterfly here. And you can see it has a head, a thorax, and an abdomen. And in its thorax, it's going to have the 2 wings and the 6 little legs. Now, a lepidopterist would get a chance to name a beautiful butterfly just like this one. And you would use some of the characteristics to name it. Now, can anyone maybe take a guess what I named this one? I'll give you a hint. Look at the beautiful blue colors here that I have. I actually named it a sky butterfly. And this one's pretty awesome. But my favorite one is my Halloween butterfly. It's my Halloween butterfly because it has an orange head and it has black feet. Perfect colors for Halloween. Now, let's get back to see over here, our little chromatography. You can really tell that the black polka dots I made and the black stars, they pretty much disappeared. But it actually didn't disappear. All what happened was the water was able to move the pigment and be able to uncover some of the other colors in there. So for some reason, my black marker today had the color blue. And if I look really closely at it, it also looks like there was a little bit of yellow. That's so interesting. Now, my friends, to finish our butterfly chromatography and our butterfly model, we're going to be using pipe cleaners, and maybe it's your rubber band or your clothespin to complete the different body parts of our butterfly today. Now, whoa, we're getting so many questions today. Another question that we got was from Omar from Mrs. Schumacher's class. And Omar asked, how many kinds of butterflies are there? Well, that's an awesome question, Omar. There are about 17,500 known species of butterflies in the world. and around 750 species here in the United States. Locally here in Southern California, we can see about 107 species of butterflies, not including the moths. So that's a lot of butterflies, my friends. Thank you for that great question, Omar. If you'd like, you can share in the chat what's your favorite butterfly to let the rest of the lepidopterists know what to look out for. My butterfly friend that's making their chrysalis outside of my house, I looked it up and it's going to be a monarch. I'm so excited to see it come out of its chrysalis, especially because the monarchs are going back on their journey, their great migration. So I'm happy to help them on their way. Fantastic. So let me go ahead and finish making our little butterfly here. Now we're going to pretend that this pipe cleaner is going to be the body of our butterfly. So I like to just fold it in half. And we're going to choose the part that is rounded off here at the bottom. We're going to say that's going to be the abdomen. The middle part is the thorax. And the top two here, they're going to be the antennas. And the antennas are going to actually help the butterfly find its way around. So what you're going to do to your paper towel or to your coffee filter, you're going to put the pipe cleaner into the filter just like this, and then you're going to just scrunch it up a little bit so that the wings have a little bit of dimension. Ooh, so beautiful. And now when you have your wings in there, you can twist the top of the antenna here to really get your two large antennas. And there, now you can see we have our head, our thorax, and our abdomen, and we have our two pairs of wings, but we're missing something. What are we missing, my friends? Oh, wait, a question just came in. One of our viewers, oh, thank you, Luna, says that she's using rubbing alcohol and a permanent marker with the supervision of a parent, of course. Oh, my friends, yes. If you really want to take your chromatography to the next level, what you can use is a permanent Sharpie marker, and you can use some rubbing alcohol, and that's going to help spread out the different pigments in a Sharpie. Now, you might be wondering, Miss Ari, why can't we use water? Well, Sharpies are designed to withstand water so that if we wash something, whatever we wrote on it doesn't wash away. But they are soluble with alcohol. And that's why if you use that rubbing alcohol, Luna, you're going to get some beautiful tie-dye there as well. I look forward to seeing your submission a little bit later, maybe on Discovery Q Connect, on how your butterfly turned out. But now, we're missing here on the middle part, on the thorax, we're missing the, what was that? That's right, the legs. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the other pipe cleaner here, and we're just going to cut the pipe cleaner. You want to just kind of make sure to measure the pipe cleaner little by little, and then you'll be able to cut it out. Just make sure, if you're maybe not so sure how to use scissors, that you ask an adult for help. I like to cut it big enough so that it can be the legs on both sides, and then I just use that to measure it. 1, 2, and 3. Perfect. Now we're going to be adding the legs right over here to the thorax. Now this part might be tricky, especially if your paper is still a little bit wet. So just be very careful. You're going to get the thorax of the butterfly. You're going to push it up a little bit, and then you're just going to slide the legs in, and you can give it a little twist to secure the legs. It takes a little finesse. Might take more than one try, but that's okay. We're going to be using that determined mindset and keep persevering. So far, I have 2 legs. Going to add our next 2. Here we go. And then our last two. And just like that, my friends, our butterfly is complete. We have the head, the thorax, and the abdomen. We gave it 6 legs, and we called it an insect. Look, it has wings, 2 pairs of 4 wings. Now, if I were to name my little butterfly friend here, I think I would name it something like Snowy because it reminds me of a snow cone. I really love blue snow cones. So I'm going to call it Snowy and put it right here next, not next to the frog. The frog might eat it. I'm going to put it on this side where you'll be nice and safe. Now, Stephanie from Mrs. Bussetti's class asks, how far can a butterfly fly and how is it formed? Now, thanks for that question, Stephanie. If you were tuning in earlier, we answered how butterflies are formed when we addressed Faith's question and when we answered Luna's question about the chrysalis. But remember how I mentioned the great monarch migration? I know because of so many scientists that have made observations that the monarch butterfly travels the furthest with a migration all the way from Canada to Mexico. They travel between 50 to 100 miles a day to get to their destination. On their journey, they have to tackle tough winds and a mountain range. And this mountain range is what separates them from their final destination. So I don't know about you, but 50 to 100 miles, that seems like a lot. Even if you're just driving in your car. Imagine if you had to walk them. And by walking, I mean, well, the monarchs would be flying, but we can pretend to be monarchs and we can flap our wings for 50 miles as we walked. We would be so tired by the end of the day. So I'm kind of glad that where I live, I have all of the resources I have to survive and thrive. But the butterflies, they chase the flowers and the nectar. And that's what leads us to the Great Migration. And actually, this kind of leads me to another question that a scholar named Isabella asked me. Now, Isabella from Mrs. Luis's class asked, how do butterflies fly? Well, they just do it. And I'm just joking. Butterflies, like we mentioned, have 2 pairs of wings. The flapping of their wings creates different forces that enables them to fly. For example, their forewings creates an airfoil, which helps create a force called lift. Lift is a force that's going to be acting in the direction of movement. In this case, up, left, right, but definitely not down. Here on our planet, we have the force of gravity that's always pulling us down. Lift counteracts this force. Their hind wings, or the ones on the bottom, is what's going to help them turn in different directions. Just like a boat, they work like little rudders that are going to help you know where to go next. Butterflies flap their wings at a greater angle when the air is coming into them, which makes them fly slow. And sometimes it might look like they got into some turbulence, but this also helps them avoid their predators. Butterflies have lots of different adaptations that have helped them survive. And they also kind of do some weird stuff. The weirdest fact that I have learned about butterflies is how they taste. Now, humans like you and I, we taste mostly our tongue, right? We use our tongue. That's what it tells us whether something tastes good or whether something tastes bad. Now, we said the butterflies kind of have a tongue, but their tongue is called a proboscis. And the proboscis isn't designed to taste. What's actually designed to taste in a butterfly is, get this, their feet. They use their feet to taste the flower, and if the flower tastes sweet, they'll eat and drink a little bit of that nectar. in order for them to be happy and healthy. Isabella, another thing I wanted to share about you about how butterflies fly. They actually flap their wings very quickly as well. If you see one flying about and you were to take a picture of it and slow down the image, you would see that sometimes they can even flap their wings 5 times per second, which is truly, truly amazing. Now, my friends and fellow lepidopterists, it looks like we created our butterfly. And it is a beautiful butterfly indeed. Depending on what materials you chose, your butterfly might look a little bit different, or it might look even a little bit strange. This one looks like a little bow tie. But the beautiful thing about this, my friends, is that just like you and I, butterflies come in many different shapes, many different sizes, many different colors, many different forms, and that they're all here to help us survive and thrive, because butterflies are one of our most beautiful pollinators. They travel from flower to flower, feeding on nectar. And as they travel from flower to flower, feeding on nectar, they also transport a little bit of pollen from here and there. So next time you see a butterfly flying across your yard, you can thank them. You can be like, "Hey, butterfly, thank you for the apples. Hey, butterfly, thank you for the cheeseburgers." What? Yeah, believe it or not, all of our food, we can thank our little insect friends that are able to fly around and spread pollen from one place to another. Now, my fellow lepidopterists, before we leave for today, I want to make sure that you remember how to properly identify an insect when you go out into the field. The first thing you want to do is you want to check how many body parts it has. It needs to have 3 body parts: the head, the thorax, and the abdomen. The head and the thorax and the abdomen is what's going to differentiate this insect from all the other bugs around there. Oh, we're almost out of time. No worries, my friends. But one of our scientists, Luna, has shared a really interesting fact that she actually saw them touch the sugar with their legs before they drank it, because unfortunately they had a little butterfly friend that had a little injury and needed some help to feel better. But that's so cool that you saw that science in action, Luna. Fantastic, my friends. So like I said, 3 body parts: head, thorax, abdomen, 6 legs, 2 pairs of wings, and that's how we identify an insect. My friends, thank you so much for learning with me today. You are all now officially Discovery Cube lepidopterists. If you love learning with me today, make sure to sign up for our summer camps, available both in person and virtually. This is your way to make sure to continue exploring with hands-on STEM activities here at Discovery Cube and at home. Now, if you want to continue your lesson or look up at the lesson about butterfly chromatography, stop by discoverycubeconnect.org and look at all the different lessons we have there to offer. From Discovery Cube and everyone else, thank you so much for coming today, my friends. We hope to see you in the future. Bye, friends. Oh gosh, look at all these beautiful butterflies.